Here we are, and welcome to another episode of the Friday Night Movie Podcast. We are going to go as quickly as we can through Lily and Becky's updates this week because we have two incredible guests. We have Gabe Diani and Devine, the writers, producers, creators, stars of The Selling and Diani and Divine Meet the Apocalypse. Both movies, we've been raving about the last few weeks. They graciously agreed to join us, so I'm going to welcome them quickly, and then we can all hear Lily and Becky's stories, and then we'll jump into talking to them. Welcome, Gabe. Welcome, Etta. It is great to have you as part of the Friday Night Movie family.
Hi, thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us.
We are so thrilled, and it's going to get very up close and personal today with us first because, as we mentioned in our pre-show conversation, Lily does live with our parents right now, who have been stranded. I don't know. I think they're just staying on their own will right now because they like being mentioned on the podcast. Lily, Mom and Dad both went to the hospital, and thank goodness for nothing death or dangerous related, but still made it very funny. What is the deal?
So this week, this week's episode is about Mom getting a colonoscopy in Spain because she
and an endoscopy. She got a 2-for-1, right?
Both. She got a 2-for-1 deal.
She loves a good colonoscopy because she tricked me into getting one when I was 21.
Okay. She likes a good, clean situation. Anyways, I could digress, but I was a bit nervous because as much as yay, Spain, it's so much fun. I'm not sure the healthcare system is up to their standards, even though I had made 2 humans here and 1 through IVF. So I devoted myself to the healthcare system and popped out children, but I don't know what their standards are. So I was a little bit nervous. And Mom, she calls me from the hospital. I was like, I just want to make sure you're okay. Call me when you get out of the colonoscopy. I want to hear your voice. And she calls me on her way home to my apartment, and she's like, I'm okay. It's fine. I was like, did they treat you nicely? Everything was all right? And she was like, oh, they were wonderful. There was one thing though that when they gave me the dressing gown to wear for the procedure, I got dressed, and then I go into to go get ready for the procedure, and there's the nurse and the doctors and anesthesiologist, and they all just are laughing at me and cracking up. And I was like, geez, what's the deal with that? And I was like, oh, Mom, that's so rude. I'm so sorry. She's like, no, it's fine. It turns out that they had given me disposable underwear, but I thought it was a hat. So she was like,
classic Mom.
She's like, so I put the underwear on my head. I was like, why? She's like, why would I need underwear in a colonoscopy? So I assumed it was some sort of hat. and that's why they were laughing. And they said, man, you could take that off and throw that out now. And so
Mom,
I was like, that was worth everything. That was worth you coming here, getting stuck,
the Canary
and
Islands
needing a medical procedure. No, not after 9 months of these 2 running around.
Gabe and Etta, are you guys okay?
Yes, but I would like to know how you were tricked into getting a colonoscopy.
So,
is it like Sting or Ocean's 11, where there's operation?
Look, we have a very, 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 I would say, boundaryless Cuban Jewish mother, and she loves. Whether it's the insurance she's paying for or the free medical care we got in Canada growing up, my mom is the one who is using it to the max. She's like, look, I paid for this with my taxes. Everyone's getting a piece of it.
Are buffets also a problem in your family?
What'd you say?
Buffets are also a problem?
Yes. Yeah. My mom just likes a coupon, anything where we can get a lot. And so I think Becky had to get one for serious medical reasons because Becky has actual colon things that have to be monitored. And my mom was just like, Shy, you should get one too. And so
that's literally what happened.
I had one in Montreal from my friend's dad, who is
he gave me mine too.
Yeah, all the Jews in Montreal know each other. And in Canada they don't use anesthesia, so you're wide awake and you watch it live. It was very traumatic. Oh yeah, I
It's
got to see it.
dramatic.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. I saw. It's like it looks like inner space because the camera's just sitting on the side, and so you just see your butt up in the air, and then it gets closer and closer and closer and closer.
Do they play
Inside.
Jaws music? Da-da-da-da.
No, but my guy that does it for me in California lets me pick the music before he gets started every time. We get a lot of colonoscopies in this family, but then you get knocked out with propofol. So
That's only in the United States. Can we pause 1 second? I think you guys have to flip your microphone around. You have to be able to see the word blue has to be facing you. That's right.
There you go.
And then tilt it up a little bit, like you're looking at it, like it's R2D2. Oh,
You can lock it.
No, just back a little bit. No, back. There, stop. All right, now say hi again.
Hi.
That seems
Oh yeah.
It's not pointed at us.
No, it is.
No.
The front is the intake, not the top.
So like the.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Can't show
Yeah,
you
like
on
it stands upright. Think of it like you're talking into R2D2's mouth.
that is weird.
Right, that's why
R2D2
it
doesn't
took
have a
me
mouth.
2 years to get it right. I was talking into the top of the mic instead of this part, but on the other side for like years. And they were always giving me a hard time that my audio was bad.
Yeah, if you get up close just like that and like talk into it, it's.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. We'll trust you.
I mean, you don't have to get super close to it.
And for short people, it should be up like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes,
Mhm.
exactly.
Sorry, I will cut that out. I wanted to make sure we make you sound as amazing as possible.
Oh,
No,
that's
keep it
very
in.
good.
Keep it in. It's good. It's great.
Oh, okay. All right then. Okay, so let's actually jump to our wonderful guests. So first of all, who are Diani and Divine? Where did it start? You have amazing chemistry. You have such an incredible mix of like great humor and satire, but also there's you can feel love and heart in what you all create. I mean, that's one of the things that made The Selling and Apocalypse so special to me. Where does this come from? What is your comedy philosophy? Just lay it on us.
Like to start?
Well,
Who are we?
Well, I'm Etta.
Very good. I'm Gabe. We met in San Francisco, at San Francisco State. We were both in the same theater program, but somehow just managed to miss each other the entire time that
I
I
have a
was
lot
there.
of the same friends.
Her friend from high school and my college roommate were like a couple, and we never met until we were both out of relationships, and then we met at a party, and she was drunk because her roommate had been spiking the bottle of champagne that she had with alcohol the whole evening. So she thought she just had a never-ending.
I thought I was having a little bit of champagne, but I was drinking vodka, so I was extra.
Woo.
It was extra fun.
She was very charming, and then we were in the same theater group. Not theater group, improv group, but at different times. And I went to a reunion show and jumped up on stage in the middle of the show, and then afterwards we
he froze me right when I had something really good.
Right. So we started off the bat with white male privilege interrupting a woman's idea. And
but then he asked me out on my answering machine as Lieutenant Columbo, so I forgave him.
Right.
You mean Peter Falk?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because we were connecting about Peter Falk and how Columbo is one of the best shows ever made, and women love Peter Falk. Yeah. He's a great aphrodisiac. So
my wife is a big Telly Savalas Kojak person. Her mother too.
Interesting. Yeah.
The 70s
Everyone loves
detectives.
a Night Stalker. Yeah.
And so I just excuse me, sorry to bother you. I just I think I left my pen at your apartment the other night, and wondering if you want to get some dinner. And,
That is dead on.
I feel like whoever accepts that invitation, it's true love.
So yeah, true
I
love.
feel like I want you to read me The Princess Bride.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, are you doing the book on tape? And there's an animated series?
That was
you know
amazing.
who's doing the voice?
100%.
If I'd known that he in the future would have such a dirty laptop keyboard, I may have not said yes. The future would have been different, but we don't know what we don't know. So
Right, the multiverse,
yeah,
and whatnot.
So you asked Etta out before you started working together as a team.
Yeah. So we were dating for a good little while. I was in a sketch group with Janet, and then
The great Janet Varney. We mention her every week, but just so in case anyone's keeping track.
the great Janet Varney, and then we moved to Los Angeles, and the group sort of went their separate ways because some members were still in the Bay Area, and then Ed and I decided, well, like we like working together. We have a similar aesthetic. We live in the same place, so we can rehearse together without having to going anywhere. Let's do a 2-person thing. And we were really big into Nichols and May, and we wanted to do something. My group with Janet was more sort of Saturday Night Live sort of types of sketches with crazy characters and costumes, and then like the lights go dark, and then you change costumes to come up, and it's like I just was tired of
carrying wigs around,
schlepping clothes and props and stuff, like just 2 people on stage, segue into the next sketch, and
it was cool. We could get in a car, like the same car, not bring any wigs, and like just get on stage like the stand-ups did, and so we did that for a while.
That was our goal, minimalist.
And all the stand-ups would just assume I was his girlfriend, like tagging along and not talking on stage.
Right.
And then we'd get off stage and they'd be like, "Oh, look,
You're a person.
You're a human being."
The strange world of stand-up backstage must be interesting to navigate when you're not part of the convention.
Can I interject with a quick question? So in the opening of Diani and Divine Meet the Apocalypse, you guys are doing this sketch on stage, this bit on stage of the tortoise and the hare. Is that one from an actual act that you do, or did you write that special for the movie? Because I was very curious about that.
Thank you. Yeah, they all the sketches are from our act, from what we did over the years. We spent a while building up an act and doing festivals, and
I assumed because it was so good, and like so easy, and when especially when you do it at the end of the movie too, towards the end of the movie, I wanted to assume that it was something you worked on and didn't just write like the week before.
Part of the inspiration was we wanted to sort of memorialize the material in some way, because we'd never made any sort of
album
or anything, and we just wanted like a record of it, a decently shot record of some of the stuff that we.
I mean, I you actually know all of the famous people, so I'm not going to mention them. But like,
you know all the famous people.
I will say one of the things we've been talking about as siblings about this is that like it seems right now that every person who has told a stand-up comedy joke is getting a Netflix special right now, and when we see something as original and as fun as the two of you performing together, we're both like, what the hell? We went to college with the guy who actually runs comedy. He's not listening to this, Robbie Pra. We're like, Robbie, come on. You gotta, like, you give everybody a Netflix special. Diani and Divine, this is amazing.
Robbie, what are you doing?
It is very unique.
Well, we stopped doing like being in those rooms and stuff right when like stand-up started getting popular.
Yeah, right when the comedy explosion started happening again. It was just
we stopped doing improv right when improv started getting really popular, and then we stopped doing stand-up right when stand-up started getting really popular. Basically, we're too cool for cool.
Yeah, you're ahead of the curve.
And then somewhere there you made The Selling, which yes. I am, of the 3 siblings, I love horror comedy. So the moment Janet, and I love Janet's work in Stand Against Evil, that's one of the 2 entryways to the Janet world that I ended up in. And when she tweeted that she had been in this delightful horror comedy, like I watched it right away. I thought it was so funny and so, I don't know if this is the right word to describe it, but I would describe it as relatable horror. It's like real good people. Like there's this scene where Gabe, your character, Richard Scarry, which by the way, having grown up with Richard Scarry books.
Oh my God.
That
as a bit made me so happy. They're huge in my house.
you're talking to you're talking to your mother's character, who is so sweet and well performed. And she talks about how you're a good person, but not a good real estate agent. And your character's so honest, and the way you talk to each other, like the way you talk to each other when Ginger arrives on the scene and then you go back to her and bring her in. There's just something so like, oh, this is how people would probably actually act in this scenario as opposed to some of the other ones. I just love that about it. What is the genesis of the selling?
The genesis of, thank you for the kind words, by the way. And the mom was played by an actor named Nancy Lenahan, who's just so delightful.
She's wonderful.
Yeah, she's great.
The genesis started, I got a phone call from a friend from college who was a theater director, and she wanted to direct film. And she's like, I want to make a movie and I want you to write and star in it.
Okay.
And I was like, well, let me check my schedule. No one else in Los Angeles cares that I'm here. Yeah, let's do it. So I had no idea how to write a movie. We had written some internet shorts and sketches, and I had done some like short plays and stuff. So I had to like learn how to write a screenplay over and over again, like just outlining and like reinventing
hundreds of walks, like trying to figure out, the character and the story. And
there weren't as many sort of online resources and help to sort of figure out structure and stuff. And so I sort of was kind of reinventing the wheel on my own for a long time, and bothering this person. She was my development executive, pitching her ideas for a long time. Finally sort of cracked the story, discovered a book called Save the Cat that helped me to sort of learn a version of 3-act structure that helped to sort of focus it a bit. And
because we've been in movies that, small movies that people spend years on and like put their heart and soul into, and everyone on a movie set works so hard, and it's so hard to make a movie. It's so hard to make a bad movie, and it's so hard to make a good movie. And the thing that we noticed over and over with these small movies that we worked on, or movies that we saw at festivals, was that like, gosh, if you just spent a little more time on the script, like,
or any Netflix movie that they make now.
Yeah.
If they would only spend time on the script.
Because you can't go rewrite it again. And like, the people, like, the costume person is working so hard. The sound person is working so hard. The grip is working so hard. Wouldn't it be nice if they could be working on something that had a chance to be really good? And it doesn't have a chance to be really good if the script isn't really good.
There's lots of ways it can go wrong, but you can't do much with
it. Can't go right
material
if the script isn't good.
So we knew
kind of like the air.
Yeah.
You can't breathe.
We would just churn out draft after draft and do like a table read and be like, well, this sucks. How do we fix it? Until we got a version of it that we thought worked. And then we
cast we're in this great theater company. We're in Glendale, full of that actor you see on TV all the time. People like Barry Groner and Armin Shimmerman and Kitty Swink and
I mean, you landed. You did also land I would say, in some sense, a horror comedy icon in Barry Bostwick. That's pretty cool. And he,
Barry,
yeah.
Talk about working hard. He does not phone in his scene in The Exorcism. That is so funny.
Yeah,
he delivers that.
It was so hot. It was like 1,000,000 degrees up in that attic too.
Yeah, his sweat is real in that scene.
Okay, one of the people you named, though, I have to take an aside on. My sisters are going to kill me. So one of my like special skills is appearing on podcasts and passionately defending Cats the musical and Cats the movie. That is, I go on Twitter and I see someone's doing an episode and I'm like, I will come on your show. You will walk away liking it more because of me. And I'm watching I was watching it on Amazon. So Amazon has a little X-ray thing, so they say who the actors are, and I see Harry Groener appear, and Harry Groener is the original voice of Munkustrap, my favorite cat in amongst the cats, on the Cats Broadway recording from the 80s. And we saw him live, Lily and Becky, in Crazy for You. And I was like freaked out that Harry Groener, the original Munkustrap, was also in this.
So you guys know the original Munkustrap?
No, the original Munkustrap.
That's huge. Also, just so you know, everything on this podcast comes down to Shy hating The Last Jedi or loving cats. That's it. There's only 2 categories.
We should just change the name of the podcast.
Yeah.
I love an underdog movie. I love movies that people denigrate. I love the movie Popeye. It's one of my favorite movies.
Robin Williams.
Movie Ishtar.
Well, that's a fucking fantastic movie.
That is
unfairly maligned.
It's not perfect, but it does not deserve what it has. It just went wildly over budget, didn't make its money back.
It's nearly perfect.
It's
kind of ahead of its time in a way. It's sort of like right, like I mean, you're talking about stuff that people did not expect in that movie.
Yes,
I mean,
and it's a comedy duo.
Telling the truth is a dangerous business.
Is a great song.
Well, yeah, but I'm just saying, telling the truth is a dangerous business. And if you want to go for most miles of film shot too, it's also
the making of the movie is quite fascinating.
So, anyways, Harry Groener, if you see him, say, we did this podcast with these random siblings, and it was actually just a sneak attack to talk about what it was like working with the original Munkustrap. So,
he would talk about it too.
What'd you say?
I'm sure he'd talk about it too.
Oh my goodness! If Harry Groener would like to talk about being Munkustrap with me, I would plot. Like really, I've been. He sings my kids even know. They're like, oh yeah, the gray cat that opens up the play. Anyways, but let's talk a little bit more about the selling, and then we can talk about Apocalypse and kind of jump from there.
Not Harry, if you want.
Let's call him. Let's bring him.
We can't.
So what led you to real estate haunted house horror?
The director said, I have access to a house. It was her grandma's house that was sort of empty. It's not the house she ended up using in the film, but we're like putting together our low budget assets of like what to sort of like, here's 5 things. Let's try to make a movie. And one of those things was an empty house. And so, I've always loved ghost stories. I've always been fascinated by the idea of ghosts as a kid growing up, and then just the idea of real estate came from. There was actually the Eddie Murphy haunted house movie, Haunted Mansion. He was a real estate agent, and I was no disrespect to the people involved in that film. Everyone works hard in a film. I just don't think that it hit the premise of a real estate agent in a haunted house. And I thought, no one's ever really done a real estate agent trying to sell a haunted house movie. And so that was sort of the genesis of the idea. And then over the course of it, trying to figure out what type of character this was. And then my mom was diagnosed with cancer, and we're like, okay, well, if and she had this really expensive treatment that the insurance wouldn't pay for. It's like, well, there's a reason why someone might do something unethical, like trying to unload a haunted house. So we really wanted to give the character a reason to do what they were doing that wasn't rooted in like, I'm a terrible person and I'm going to learn my lesson about being bad. And I like those types of movies too, but we wanted to do something that.
And I think as a horror comedy consumer, there's like this desire to be almost like nihilistic with the end. Like people celebrate this film Cabin in the Woods, which I admit I saw 10 years too late, and I love a good Cabin in the Woods murder thing. But I was kind of bummed out that like the end of it was like everyone was sort of miserable and the end is the end of the world. And what made you decide that you were going to go with like heart-driven, likable? like that.
And also something quite personal.
It's a great question. I think at the time I wouldn't be able to articulate it, but looking back on the things that we've written since then, I feel like one of the themes that keeps popping up in our work is good people trying to get by in an unjust world. And I think that's just something that's in our core in terms of things that we're thinking about. I just
and interested in seeing.
We've had this great explosion, especially on TV, of sort of anti-heroes and like great storytelling about anti-heroes. But I think also
stuff I like to watch. I love a Walter White.
But I think it's also sort of conditioned us as a society to sort of empathize with psychopaths. Like everyone, giving the actor who played Skylar on Breaking Bad, like death threats and stuff about why aren't you supporting your husband? It's like, she's kind of the hero of that story.
Right. Yeah.
And so just, I don't know, just something in me wanted to do something different. Because originally some of the early ideas was like, this is this person will sell anything type of person. And just like, it just felt like a dead end and just a version of storytelling that we weren't interested.
I love that you end up selling it to people who really want it. I thought that was a great twist. Like the whole time we're kind of expecting you to figure out a way to get pull the wool over someone's eyes, and justifiable because you have this altruistic motive. But in the end, that's my favorite scene with the witches. That scene is so well done, and the timing of it is so great. I love that. And then when they end up buying it, it's just, and then you end up getting possessed, and the story continues. But it's just, I thought that was a great. It's like to Shai's point, really fun, and it scared the crap out of my mom, which I thought was hilarious because I watched it with her. And my husband is like a serious horror movie like buff. He loves like real true horror stuff, and I've been desensitized slightly, so I didn't like jump or anything. And I'm watching it with her, who can't. As soon as someone turns a light off in a movie, she's like, "Oh no, I can't watch this." And so the scene when you close the medicine cabinet, I thought she was going to hit the ceiling, and I was like, "Mom, seriously?" She's like, "Oh my God!" Like she lost it, and that made it all the more better, the experience. But I do really appreciate that it had a lot of heart.
And to each their own, but I think for the three of us at least, we connect better with stories when the stakes are real and the stakes are high for the character, and so that personal element of putting in your mom's, borrowing from your mom from your real life story about your mom, definitely. For me, it elevated the story because I now feel connected to the character on a personal level, and I believe in him, and I'm really rooting for Richard Scarry.
That level of specificity, I think, specific to you, I think makes it infinitely relatable to everybody else. And I think the specificity in Diani and Divine Meet the Apocalypse is also amazing. The first thing Lily texted me when she started watching it was, "Oh my goodness, this is me and Jose every time we try to leave the house."
You guys
the packing
in that
so
scene?
It's so good. The way it's edited, the way it's written, the way it's the way it's shot, like it is perfect. It is amazing. Yeah.
I was like, this is my life. It's embarrassing to watch this. I was like, I clearly could never pack for the apocalypse. I can't pack to go for like a picnic. It was very real.
That is great to hear, because we were at one point worried that it was just way too specific to us. Like, is this just navel gazing? Like, is anyone going to care about the idiosyncrasies?
Especially when you have 20 people in your apartment, like standing around watching you shoot that.
Right.
You just feel these like waves of shame. Like, I'm like the most ridiculous person in the world, like making this stupid, like interpersonal bullshit, like even more stupid. Like, but
no. And to get even more specific, the line when you guys are bickering, and I can't remember Etta, I think you're the one that says it, but I can't remember now. I never get to choose what we fight about. That line killed me. I was like on the floor. Like that was, it's perfect.
Okay, if we're gonna play
it sums
this game,
everything up.
Then if we're playing this game, I just kept texting Shay and Becky lines, but one that has truly stuck with me is when you say, "Can we let's go have diarrhea in the bushes?" And Ed is like, "I'm way ahead of you."
That's basically all of our family vacations with us and our parents growing up.
But also, I love a good diarrhea joke, and they're exhausted. Like, how are you going to get a funny diarrhea joke nowadays? That was just beautiful. I was just like, amazing. I texted both of them. I was like, it's just the best.
No, but again, it feels earned because when you're boiling the water in the can and one turns the other goes, how long do you have to boil it for? I'm like, I'm sure it's enough. Like, then the diarrhea joke is really earned. Because realistically, 99% of the people out there who are going to have to boil their own water for consumption don't really know what to do. No one knows the rules. They're like, that seems like it's enough.
It would be so unrealistic, like in The Walking Dead, which is something that I will bring up after Shine when we play one of your games. Like somehow everybody knows how to survive a zombie apocalypse.
Well, that's how they survived. Everyone who doesn't know how to survive has been eaten, Lily.
But I'm like, they never have trouble boiling puddle water in that show.
That's exactly how competent I actually am. Like, I know a bunch of stuff, and then there's like a glaring hole in my knowledge that to apply to practical things.
And that was part of the inspiration for the movie. Is like we've never seen people who are unprepared for the apocalypse and all of these sort of mundane, boring things that are happening in between the zombie attacks.
That's
beautiful. A movie about boring things.
And
no, it's so perfect.
And to come back to optimism, so I had it on and I don't know if you meant it for a 7-year-old and a 9-year-old, but I have a 7-year-old and a 9-year-old daughter. And during this very strange year of quarantine, look, my life and my family's life, we're in the privileged, however hard this year has been for people, thank God, thank whatever you want to thank, we have had a very easy life. And my wife and I have been really intent on making sure the kids maintain optimism and a good attitude about it, right? Like you're stuck in your house with your 7 iPads and Wi-Fi and whatever. Life isn't hard. Not 7 iPads. We don't have 7 iPads, but you get my point. Life is not hard. And I forget what was going on in our house that day, but they watched probably the last 2/3 of the movie. And I turned to them, I said, so did you get the lesson about that movie? And they said, yeah, it's about staying optimistic even when things are hard. And it's about enjoying the company of the people that you're with, even in these terrible situations. And so I'd like you to know that this is, as much as it's a comedy and it's a comedy with heart that we all got, I was able to turn it into an immediate quarantine lesson for my kids. And I'm grateful for that.
That's amazing.
And speaking of the apocalypse,
yes,
Becky has.
Hey, but also speaking of being ahead of the curve, I mean, talk about being ahead of the curve. You were really ahead of the curve with that movie. And now you're like, we're over apocalypse stuff. What's the next big thing? Everybody needs to be watching YouTube to know what the next big thing's going to be.
I'm sorry to say that we did it too. We did do predictions for the next thing.
Okay.
Oh, really?
At least this way you guys can prepare. So,
Yes.
Oh, wait. So, we'll get to your next thing in a little bit, but I'm excited to hear about whatever the next thing is. We will be there. We will be covering it in real time if we can.
Okay, my game, quickly.
Becky's game. Yeah, Becky's game. So Becky has created a survival quiz for you all. Lily and I may jump in, but we really want to hear your answers here.
Okay. So first question. It's only going to be 3 questions because we're short on time. First question. In your survival pack, because everybody knows when there's an apocalypse or a zombie apocalypse, you got to team up. Who are the three characters from movie, television, or other fiction that would be in your survival pack? So it's a team of 4. You're 1, and you get to pick 3.
Okay. So in this situation, one of us is dead. In my situation, she's gone.
Or maybe you guys.
Or is that just the premise you're setting up for us? No, it can be the two of you.
You murdered me.
Do whatever you want. You're artists.
You don't have to. I mean, like you could say you guys maybe the apocalypse started and you were just kind of like on different ends of the city, and so you had to just find your own packs.
You each get to pick your own packs. Yeah,
it doesn't have to be. Maybe your packs will reunite at one point. You decide.
I think these are fictional characters. Or...
Yeah, you gotta pick. I want fictional characters.
Like, for example, I would pick Monka Strap and Evie Barrett from Stand Against Evil. Those are.
Would you like to go first?
Yeah. Wait, how many do I get?
Get three.
Three.
Do I say them all, or we go one at a time?
Whatever you want to do. If you have all three, or
I'm ready.
More time to.
I'm going.
Okay, if you got all three, go.
I'm going Data.
Oh, that's
From
really
Star Trek.
smart.
That's a good one.
Wait, does magic exist?
Anything fictitious exists.
Because I'm going Gandalf.
Oh, my
Nice.
genius. Yeah, so if you pick Gandalf, magic exists.
Yeah. And I'm going Ripley.
Oh.
Those are way better than mine. I think
Etta
we're gonna be
wins,
fine.
Gabe, unless you've got something better.
Wow.
Let her go first. Okay, let's see. I'll go with Popeye. To
We know how you
beat
feel.
bad guys.
Strength.
I will go, and he has spinach with him to share with the group.
Very smart.
And unexhaustible in his pocket. He just pulled it out. And then I'll go with. God, yours were so good.
Really good. Like, I've been thinking about this for a while, and I did not come up with anything that would actually help me survive.
It's not like the most fun group, though.
I can't think of.
That's true.
This is true.
Gandalf knows how to party.
It's true.
Yeah, that's true.
He's got that.
I had
milkweed or whatever it's.
Yeah, he's got his pipe and his fireworks. You get like a little Pink Floyd laser light show.
Oh, and will there be any tension between Data and Ripley? I didn't think of that.
Oh yeah, she does not like androids.
Does not into
Not
like
like
robots.
androids.
But you need tension, like some drama. You and Gandalf talking about them behind their backs. Like, I get to see it.
I may have like done a really bad job.
No, I think you're gonna be fine. I had on my list Seth Rogen from Knocked Up because you need someone incredibly annoying that you would want to sacrifice to Marauders.
I
to
chose,
trade off.
in my mind, it was going to be
That
Fozzie
character-
Bear. That's what I was like. I need someone who's going to be slower and dumber than me that I can sacrifice.
I love Seth Rogen himself, but the character in Knocked Up I find super annoying. So I was like, that guy, I'm definitely trading him for a can of beans or something.
I'll go with James Garner as Maverick because he's used to sort of wandering around from town to town. He's got a gun,
And it was before it was bad.
It's before his knee was bad, so he can run, and also like he plays cards, so we'll have cards that we can play.
Entertainment.
Popeye?
And then
Popeye.
Etta Devine from Diani and Divine Meet the Apocalypse, the fictional version of her, because
Yes,
she's
Much
that
more
counts. You can choose that.
because she's smart and she will tell us how long to boil the water.
I feel like I'm smarter than her, and
You
she's
are,
more
you-
annoying.
I don't know how to answer that. I don't think there's a right response for me.
Nope.
All right, Becky, your next question.
I have a question. I have so many questions for them.
I know, but I have to not
Okay.
miss Hanukkah.
Okay. So,
Let alone the fact that we have our guests that have like more important things to do than hang out.
okay, fine. We'll only do one
Three
more
siblings
question.
on,
We'll
Dawn.
only do one more question then. What are your bunker essentials? There's no like limit. You could just name a couple of like bunker essentials.
DVDs or Blu-rays.
Just general DVD. It doesn't like not a specific one. You just any collection.
Oh, like I don't know, maybe the Criterion Collection if I have.
Okay, that'd be good. Yeah.
Or ours, which is a bit more eclectic. Books,
Books, for
good
sure.
books, that tell you how to do stuff that we don't know how to do.
Yeah, like tie knots and things. You need one of those.
Not very
Yeah.
important when you're in a bunker.
Good olives.
Whoops.
Olives.
Very specific. All right.
Good olive oil.
Good first aid kit.
Oh, thinking practically now.
And oxygen. Lots of oxygen.
Oxygen, first aid kit, and DVDs.
No, no cats from Cats. All right. Now,
What's your
All the DVDs of The Last Jedi.
well, they're probably in a bunker because I don't think they can give those away. Now we would love to play with you our signature games. So we've over the 3 years of doing this podcast, we have a few little games we like to play, and one of them is called Buy, Rent, or Meh. And we're going to give you 3 things, and you're going to buy one, rent one, and meh one. And if this is taken from I guess generationally, we're somewhat similar because we remember the days when you could actually buy or rent VHSs when we do this with younger people, they have no idea what we're talking about. But think of it in the days of, VHS. You can imagine buying one when you were, in your teenage, like that was one you really wanted in your collection. For me, by the way, Army of Darkness, probably the first one that I bought, one of the great horror comedies. And then meh can mean, it can be whatever meaning you put in the way you deliver the word meh. So it doesn't have to be negative per se. It could be like a questioning meh. It could be, and then and there's a fourth category that can use, which is a bleh. But we have 3 options here. So bleh is only for something you really don't like. That's truly negative. And we're going to do it with some famous haunted houses. All right. Ooh. So number 1, The Shining. Overlook Hotel, which is on Gabe's shirt, as we all noticed in Apocalypse, right?
Apocalypse, yeah.
Apocalypse.
It's an Apocalypse. I think in the selling, he's wearing a shirt and tie.
You're right. But when you're wearing an Apocalypse was the moment when I said, "Oh, the selling, like The Shining."
Which no distributors understood at all.
They wanted to change the title of the movie because they didn't get it.
I think it's great.
And then the Poltergeist house or the Amityville Horror House, you can kind of interchange those two as just like terrifying houses. Right. And then, one that's close and near and dear to my heart, which is the Cabin in the Woods from the Evil Dead franchise. So which do you buy, which do you rent, and which do you meh? And I can throw my sisters in to do this. Becky looks confused, so I'm going to say Lily.
No,
you're always good at this.
I have an answer.
All right, you have an answer.
I also have an answer.
I'm buying the Overlook because even though it's terrifying, you really only have one horrible person to avoid, and otherwise you're in a gorgeous hotel. Right. So no one else is gonna try and kill you. You just have the one guy that you have to avoid, and otherwise you're just in you can go get a drink at the bar.
And if you stay there during the open season, it's really not that much of a problem.
Exactly.
Get an apartment somewhere during the winter months.
Then I'm going to do 100%. Evil Dead Cabin in the Woods because at least during the daytime, again, you're out in beautiful nature. You can go walk around. I can't remember. Can they get into the cabin? I need
they get into the people inside the cabin. They end up locked in the floor of the cabin.
Yeah, but I feel like you can still fight them with weapons, so it's okay. There's still a means of defense, and I am not going anywhere near a poltergeist situation.
You're not interested in your kid being taken through the TV.
No.
I understood it the opposite way. So I bought Evil Dead Cabin in the Woods because I feel like there's so much to work with there in terms of
iconic
hunt. Yeah, and getting
Raimi,
attacked.
Bruce
And you just never know what's going to happen.
I thought it was my survival in each one. How am I going to survive?
Interpret it however you want. That's the fun of buy renting.
This is me in these houses. How I'm going to survive.
I think it offers a lot of possibilities. Renting Poltergeist because and you mention it in the selling, which I thought was so funny when you get pissed at the ghosts and you just run off all these horror movie classic things, and you mention the melting face in the mirror. That movie's
also Lily. Doesn't Poltergeist have the steak that moves? And your husband really loves steak.
He does like steak.
It's got a pool too, right? That's why I'd rent the Poltergeist house
because of the pool. And then The Shining, I was maying that because I'm that house is so big. It's like a hotel, not a house. It's so big. I'm you just go to a different room. I was it's not. And there's some scary twins in the hallway. Whatever. I don't know.
Again, they're not going to hurt you,
right?
No one's
so that's why to me it was even though obviously I'm a genius, but so our guests can go now if you'd like.
You want to go first?
I sort of already buy The Shining, rent the Poltergeist pool, and my
I'm similar, but for different reasons. I would buy The Shining because I think with good management, you can really sort of, you can make a good living from owning a hotel. And like I said, just, be careful about the winter months.
Yeah.
I would rent the Poltergeist house because like an Airbnb situation, like I could stay there, we're traveling for a film festival or something, and that's fine. Stay there for a week or something.
Don't touch the TV. That's all.
That's it. We don't have kids. We would. I'd be worried about the dog, so we maybe put the dog and have someone watch the dog while we're there. And then not big on cabins, so I'd met.
And then that's amazing. Way to go. Round of applause for Gabe and Etta. That was beautiful. And then another game, I think we have time to, first of all, are you all doing well on time? I don't want to.
Great. We can keep going.
Oh, okay.
Start out.
I have to bake bread later. That's
my heart out is moving a little bit. So like I'm on constant contact with my wife. And we have another game we play called Rex RX, which is our family is known for, aside from colonoscopies, just we're always with like a minor level of sick. And so we try to prescribe.
That's a great sentence, by the way. Our family is known for not just colonoscopies, but
that is. We have a lot of old friends that listen to this. You're speaking their language right now. And so the way Rex RX works is that there's a situation you might be in, an emotional situation, a physical situation. A sick day is a big one for us because the three of us used to always get sick and then stay home and watch The Untouchables. So like The Untouchables was like our big Rex RX growing up. What? We're sick? All right, get some nachos and watch The Untouchables.
Who's Harry Crumb?
And who's Harry
Crumb? Great John Candy.
Those are our big ones. And so
Untouchables movie or the TV show?
Movie.
Yeah. Movie. I mean, again, this is like, by the way, an 11-year-old, a 9-year-old, and a 6-year-old watching The Untouchables together. Our parents let us watch whatever we wanted.
The Untouchables TV show is
Robert Stack.
Robert Stack. Oh yeah.
It's not San Francisco. Sorry.
You think of Streets of San Francisco?
I'm thinking of Streets of San Francisco with Michael Douglas.
No.
So I don't know what the
Robert Stack's it was a black and white show that the movie is based on.
I don't know any.
And then there was a made-for-TV show, The Return of Elliot Ness, with Robert Stack that I watched on that I recorded.
Sean Connery won the Academy Award for Untouchables.
Not The Return of Elliot Ness though. No. It was fun to see Robert Stack in that though.
I like that the real life people are just like, yeah, whatever. we're just gonna make them into like superheroes and stuff and not pay any attention to
facts.
Yeah, they're on horseback and they're like. They're fighting with Mounties and stuff.
I mean, growing up and watching that in Canada, which is where we watched that was a big, big scene. The Mounties, my parents were very excited. Kids, come down and watch the Mounties while they blow these people's heads off.
Our generation, they just let us watch whatever.
Whatever.
But no.
My mom took me to see Police Academy in the theater. And it's like, that is not a children's film at all.
Yeah, that's like, I watched Revenge of the Nerds. I watched Revenge of the Nerds when I was 8.
It was a different time.
So we have a Rex RX.
Okay.
But we'd like you to play. You are now the physician for this fictitious patient, which is the three of us. What show or movie do you recommend for someone who is afraid to stay alone in their house because they think it's haunted? Like we have our aunt, we love her, Aunt Margaret. For many, many years, she and our Uncle Paul, who recently passed away, she lived in this amazing house in Marion in Philadelphia, which is, if you think of the movie The Sixth Sense, which is filmed in Philadelphia, As far as we're concerned, all of the houses in that area are the Sixth Sense house, and our aunt's
But
and uncle's
to be
house.
fair, I also texted you while watching this selling, and I was like, "This is Aunt Margaret's house,
Yeah.
100%."
No,
like I think they
you
filmed
shot it in
there.
Aunt Margaret's house. It's
You literally, it looks like it too. Like this house is like similar in a lot of ways.
So if we were staying in that house overnight, we would need a Rex RX. Like, for example, when I stayed in the house, my aunt's house when I was little, our wonderful cousin Ruthie had me let me stay up and watch Mr. Belvedere with her. And so Mr. Belvedere would be my Rex RX for someone because it got me through actually staying in a haunted house. What non-Mr. Belvedere answer would you recommend to someone staying in a haunted or a seemingly haunted house? Other than the selling and Diani and Divine Meet the Apocalypse, those are our go-to.
Well, when I was a kid, I thought that my grandparents' house was haunted, and I lived there for a couple of months while my mom went to paramedic school in Los Angeles. And so I would if I go with the things that brought me comfort when I lived there, old school Star Trek. 5 to 6 o'clock every night, the old Star Trek would come on, and we just sort of lay on the floor and stare at the TV, and so that was great. And then also I'd recommend The Wizard of Oz, which I thought ended when they get to when they're skipping off to the Emerald City, because that was 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock or whatever. It was my bedtime, and it was that was where it hit before it went to commercial before bedtime. So I thought that was the end of the film.
Before the monkeys in the trees and the
before
terrifying
it gets dark and
poppy fields.
Terrifying.
All right, Edda, how about you?
I think something with a lot of talking that you can also tune out. So no explosions, no. I'm going to go with the 96 Pride and Prejudice, the Colin Firth, Jennifer Ely one. Because it's 6 hours.
Oh yeah.
And you can tune in.
Soothing British accents.
Yeah, you can tune in and be so engaged because it's brilliant and wonderful. And you can also let it fade into the background and just be beautiful if you're
That's a great rec.
And Darcy in his wet shirt is really comforting.
Yeah.
And can still do what happens.
Darcy.
I like Colin Firth's stud hunk status, because I feel like that's an attainable amount of attractiveness for people.
Right?
This is not Ryan Reynolds here.
Yeah.
No.
Okay, and now we come to the part of the show we call I feel like we should, we call it Recs and Shoutouts, but I feel like since we're big Parks and Recs fan, which kind of also reminds me of the vibe of your work, by the way, which is funny and satire, but also with so much heart, right? Like Richard Scarry, to me, he and Leslie Knope could go on a real estate adventure, and it would be amazing.
Let's call Amy Poehler.
Yes, exactly. Well, you're the one. We don't. Yeah, sure.
You guys know famous people.
So it should be Shoutouts and Recs. We should rename it Shoutouts and Recs. And that's what have you been watching to? What have you been listening to? You all are welcome to play along as well. Lily, what have you been up to?
So I recently watched Kajillionaire. I don't know if you've heard of this film, by the wonderful artist Miranda July. Right? Sorry, I forgot to plug in my iPod. Just kidding. 100% plugged in my phone instead, but sorry. Kajillionaire, yes, Miranda July, who I believe is an LA-based artist, I want to say. And she... is it Berkeley?
Well,
she's from Berkeley.
She's from Berkeley, but I don't think she lives here.
And the movie takes place in LA. And I loved her other film, You and Everyone We Know. And I think she's so cool. I love her work. And so I was very excited to see this film. I unfortunately watched it with my mom and my husband. It's probably the one movie not to watch with mom, guys. She had a lot of questions. And then my husband was also like, is this like The Lobster? Like the time you made me watch The Lobster? Are you just going to be like that? And I was like, okay, everybody shut up. Just let me watch my movie. And I thought it was great. Richard Jenkins, Deborah Winger, Evan Rachel Wood. and Gina Rodriguez. I thought it was very cool. I recommend it. And not so cool was On the Rocks, Sofia Coppola's movie.
Is that the one with Rashida Jones? No.
Bill Murray and Rashida Jones. And this is like maybe it's a script thing. I don't know, Becky, you would probably know, but I don't think you'll watch this movie. Rashida Jones and Bill Murray, that's a very cool combo. Marlon Wayans.
Look, as much as a big Bill Murray fan I am, I don't connect as much with his like constantly serious-ish later stuff. Like, I mean, I love the great stuff, but
he was great actually, and the you know what, he was great and he was funny and like that part was fine. I just think the movie fell short. It was just sort of like, okay, it was like this father-daughter story that could have been better. But it was also straight to streaming.
As good as the original Arthur 2 On the Rocks.
Good pull. That's awesome.
I'm making a face.
My sisters don't know what that is. There's no way they do it.
It was a sequel to the film Arthur, and the subtitle was On the Rocks.
On the Rocks. That's what I thought it was. I know Arthur. What's his name?
Yeah.
And Dudley Moore. I was like, what's his last name? Moore? Yeah.
And Liza Minnelli. They were such big stars that they made sequels with Dudley Moore and Liza Minnelli.
Yeah. And so then we watched Billions, Umbrella Academy, and your guys' movies this week. And for a person with a new baby, that's a lot of content. Yeah. So I got nothing left. Your guys' stuff it was a joy to watch. I was so excited that we were introduced to it through Janet. So super fun. And I want a quick shout out to Tony from the Take Two podcast, because we were talking about Christmas movies last week, and I was like, I don't know where to find this like really cheesy, stupid Christmas movie. And he Instagram messaged me. He DM'd me and was like, you can find it on HBO Max, Lily. And so thank you, Tony. And yeah, that's it. Beck?
All right, Beck, what are you up to?
I've been watching The Queen's Gambit. Not by Lily, but I was promised sexy chess by someone. It is not sexy enough. Chess is not sexy. It's a good show.
Chess is.
It's a good show. It's a good show. It's just when you see a trailer for an action movie and it turns out to be a drama.
You wanted Veronica Lodge sexy meeting.
I wanted Riverdale chess, and I got like sophisticated chess, which is fine. It's a great show. It's just not sexy enough. That's my only commentary on it, but I do like it. And I watched your movies, second time actually seeing The Selling, but so I rewatched it and then I'm so excited. I saw Apocalypse, amazing. I saw a bunch of other stuff, but yeah, these are the important ones. So there we go.
How about you all, and what's upcoming? This is very important.
We
for you.
Forgetting what we watch instantly during quarantine.
You become so involved in a show, but you binge it, and then it's like, wait, what? Things that we've really loved during lockdown were Tales from the Loop.
Oh yeah.
Which is
oh really? That was something I was considering, but needed a recommendation from someone first.
It's got this really wonderful, weird tone where it's
and a slow pace, but not in a bad way.
Right. It's I think it's a really good lockdown watch if you're a sci-fi person. It's sort of like old school Ray Bradbury, kind of sad but kind of beautiful, short stories all set in this one town. So it's an anthology film or a series, but it's connected because someone who's a minor character who has a one line in one episode, then the next episode is about them.
Cool.
Oh, cool.
I like awesome. That kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's really it's beautiful, and it's just got this. There's something just really beautiful about it.
We love Prospect, which Pedro Pascal. It's the production design on this movie is just incredible. It is so beautiful. There's, it's just the world building is incredible, and it's just this great. It's an movie.
Indie space western, basically about this father and daughter who go to this planet prospecting, basically looking for this this space jewel thing that they want to get, and it's great world building, like she said. Pedro Pascal shows up in it doing. He's like our new Nathan Fillion. He's
Oh yeah.
He's everywhere.
sounds exactly like Nathan Fillion because they give him sort of like space westerny dialogue.
Yeah.
And he's got a similar cheek thing happening.
Yeah.
I'd like to see them on a buddy.
Oh,
It's
yeah. It's great. We loved Kingdom, which is a Korean zombie series.
Not the MMA
boxing.
show, which we love.
Also called Kingdom.
Korean zombie movies. Whew.
And it's
That's scary.
That's a genre.
during the darn it, I forget the name of the era, but it's like the
great hat
1700.
period.
Yeah, it's the amazing Korean hat period. The men are in just these crazy hats. It's the costumes are incredible.
It's sort of like Game of Thrones, but with zombies.
And
Loving these
Awesome.
wrecks.
and
Good.
the stunts are unreal. Like they'll have like 500 extras like running at a wall, and they're just running full out and hitting it. And like
We were a little worried for.
I was worried about all of the stunt performers. They're really incredible.
You're such compassionate folks. And what's is there a new Diani and Divine project coming? New film? New show?
We've been working on a couple different projects, but sort of depending on if Diani and Divine had done well,
Right.
what we would have done or not. But we spent a couple of years working on a script about a voter suppression in Wisconsin and how it flipped a blue state to red in 2016 is sort of like a Big Short type of satire.
Oh wow!
So that's a tonally different thing from the selling.
Disturbingly relevant.
Right.
Yeah.
You are ahead of the curve.
So yeah, so we did it again. Sorry.
Right. And so we're just working on trying to
Yeah,
get that made.
that's out in the Hollywood world right now. But if you guys have you guys seen Rare Exports?
I have not seen Rare
If you're looking
Exports.
for a Christmas movie.
It's a good horror Christmas movie.
Oh, all right.
An Amblin style.
Ooh, all right. Wait, are you guys in that?
No,
No.
I would.
Oh,
We saw it on the
Is it Norwegian?
festival circuit.
It's Norwegian, right?
Yeah, we saw it in Singapore
Yeah.
when we were at a film festival for the selling.
And I don't. It's probably not for kids, right? Even though it has one of my favorite nude scenes ever.
okay. Well, I think you sold it for kids.
But it's not sexual.
That's
It's
extremely specific.
That's
a non-sexual nude scene.
It is it posits
favorite
Santa Claus is actually a demon.
Yeah.
Basically.
Oh.
oh.
There's a drilling expedition in Norway.
Well, for our Jewish kids,
Like
this
Jewish
is like
kids,
perfect.
definitely.
This is like exactly the propaganda.
It uncovers like the real Santa, who's this evil naked old man running around,
Yeah.
being
Like
scary.
it's like I
stealing
would let a
kids.
kid watch it because the nudity is non-sexual. Like
It's not a gory.
I'll just say there's a bunch of naked men running. Old naked men running is the nude scene.
All right, I'll pre-screen. My wife will make me pre-screen. And as we wrap our show, Becky, where can people follow you?
At Paper BK Princess on Twitter.
And Lily?
At Chichi, ChiChiK Gomez on Twitter. And I'm just going to quickly say that when Shy helped me get that handle, and it is because now I feel like I maybe should
You don't have to explain yourself. I don't explain myself.
It's your
But I feel
last
like I
name,
only have
Lily.
yes. No, that's not
Your
my last name.
your real first name is Chi-Chi, and
Just
your
not.
married name is Gomez. There you go.
Okay, I didn't change my name, so my name is Corman, not Gomez. That's my husband's name, and Chi-Chi is what I made Becky and Shy call me as a kid because I didn't have a middle name, but they did, and that as a 4-year-old, what I thought would be a fantastic middle name, and so I was Lily Chi-Chi because it sounded awesome, and I didn't have a middle name, and they did, and so somehow I've not been able to get away from it.
Because it's amazing.
Behind them not wanting to give you a middle name.
Because I don't know.
Lily's named after my mom's
after
father, who had passed away right after I died. Right after I was born, and so Lily's the second one.
Podcast with the ghost.
It's a haunted podcast. Lily was, and so they didn't want to mix it with any other names because
names, yeah. And he didn't have a middle name either. So.
And then, as an homage, my second daughter, does not have a middle name either. As an homage to you.
There you go.
Family tradition. There you go.
And Gabe and Etta, where can people follow all of your amazing things? I know Diani and Divine.com is one of those places, but are there other places?
I'm at Etta Devine on Twitter, but I'll warn you, I just retweet like the horrors that happen. So
we used to be funny and tweet jokes, and then now we just are.
Well, we are grateful that you responded to. We're grateful you responded to us.
Thank you for reaching out. I'm at Gabe Diani, and sometimes I'm funny, and I hope to be funny again.
That would be great
someday on Twitter.
Well, we are so grateful for our two incredible guests, Gabe Diani and Etta Devine, who as we talk about her all the time, Janet, our friend, our hero when it comes to podcasting and so many things, who she described, this is how she described you all. She said, basically, I've known them about 20 years, and I don't know where I'd be without their friendship in my life. And she also shared a couple of fun stories just about being on set and what troopers you all are, and navigating back problems and food poisoning and all of these things. And she's a very special person to us, so it's very cool that she feels, obviously you know her way better than we do, but we are always grateful when we get someone also who that she feels so strongly and wonderfully about. And so, again, thank you to Gabe and Etta. You can follow me at Pancake4Table on Twitter and Instagram. That's Pancake and the number 4Table on Twitter and Instagram. You can follow all of the Friday Night Movie shenanigans at Fry Night Movie on Twitter and Instagram. Please join us in supporting the NAACP Legal Defense Fund and Equal Justice Initiative. As we remind people, the election is over. But hey, look, Georgia's coming up. People voting, being able to vote, people people having rights in this country. And being able to exercise their democratic rights does not end. That battle for that does not end. And so please check out those organizations. And if you see fit, if you see appropriate, please join us in supporting them. The theme music will kick in post-production. It is by What Does It Eat? Check out the music of that band on Spotify and on iTunes and all the other musical places. And with that, I say goodbye and thank you. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks. This was so great.